There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Saturday night, July 13th, the reign of Boots. Boots Ennis has begun. I got my eye on Murataya and Farmer, but the reign of Boots Ennis has begun with a sensational knockout of Abanesian. And here we are. Boots Ennis, who was handed a welterweight crown, defended it tonight successfully in Philadelphia. He is unbeaten. Boots is 32-0, 29 knockouts with the knockout of David Abanesian. And 5, it was a spectacular fight. What's up, everybody? Saturday night, 11:42. It is late, but you know what? It's a good night of boxing because we got Boots Ennis back in the ring after about a year. Let's see, Boots. Yep, July 8th. So we're talking about a year since he was in the ring, and he destroyed Roman Villa. Looked sensational in that fight, and then sat out for a whole year. But he's back, and he looked great. I gotta say, I'm seeing on some channels people questioning Boots and saying, well, he can't get hit like that against Bud Crawford. Of course he won't get hit like that against Bud Crawford. He was fighting David Abanesian. Okay, Boots Ennis said, I'm walking him down. He had his punishing boots on tonight. He was stomping tonight. He was taking some shots willingly. He knew who he was fighting. Boots Ennis is the smart kind of fighter that knew who he was fighting. Was he a little rusty? Yes, but he knew he had the chin. He knew Abanesian couldn't hurt him. It was a seek and destroy fight. Diesel 754, man, that's a new name. Diesel, you gotta subscribe. You gotta like and subscribe, brother. Rusty Boots still looked incredible. That's my point. Now, Diesel, you know boxing. You know boxing. Now, people are already criticizing. Everyone wants to be a critic. And people are already criticizing Boots, saying if he was fighting Bud, if he gets hit like that, it's lights out. He wouldn't fight. Come, you make yourself look like a fool because he wouldn't fight Bud like that. He was fighting David Abanesian. He was fighting David Abanesian. So stop with the criticism. He wanted to put on an entertaining fight. He stood in the pocket, not much head movement. He stayed there too long after he threw his shots, but he knew who he was fighting. He knew that this guy was overmatched. And what happened? He dropped him in the 5th, and the corner stopped the fight. So, you know, just stop. Just stop with everyone's a critic. Diesel says the same guys hate Shakur is criticizing Boots. You can't make this stuff up. Look, I'm from Jersey, Diesel. You don't know this. I'm from New Jersey, so I'm a big Shakur fan. And Shakur damn near had a shutout his last fight. Won every single round. But it's not enough for people. And now people want to criticize Boots for saying he got hit too much. If that was Bud, you know, he'd be in trouble. Don't you think that Boots Ennis is a smart fighter? Don't you think don't you think he knew who he was fighting? Georgie Orr, I think they said Ava broke his jaw. Yeah, Abanesian's face was swollen. The guy is tough. You can't take anything away from a tough fighter. And David Abanesian is tough. And he fought as hard as he could. He landed some shots. But he landed shots because Boots let him land the shots. So, you know, AP, Boots looked good, but he also looked like a middleweight. You know what, AP? That's the first thing. Now, maybe it's because Abanesian is smaller. But just looking at them, and I tweeted that or posted that on X, that he looked like a middleweight. He looked so much bigger than Abanesian. You know what? It's a case of Boots. Boots knew he was so much better than this guy. When fighters know they're so much better, they can take chances. They can, I hate to say it, but toy with fighters. And that's what he did. He wouldn't stand in the pocket like that if he was fighting Errol Spence or Bud Crawford. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do, he knew who he was fighting. He was fighting David Evanesian. So, man, he looked good. I thought he looked sensational. Mr. Big Play Bray. It's been a year since he fought and he needs to fight later in the year. He will be okay. Agreed. Agreed. He's got to get another fight in this year. I mean, it's been a year since he fought. He's 27, man. These fighters, you know what? On YouTube, we don't have a prime. We can talk till we're 60, 70, 80. In boxing, you have a prime. And he's 27. He's in his prime. He's got to take advantage. Your prime only lasts so long. My favorite fighter, Sugar Ray Leonard, his prime lasted only so long. He stayed on too long past his prime and he got beat. Boots Ennis, although, you know, when I look at the welterweight division, there's not a lot to get excited about. And Murataya Farmer is in round 8. I don't know if anyone's watching this fight. I'll tell you what, Farmer, I have so much respect for him. Moved up from 130. So I don't know who's winning this fight. So I don't know if anyone has an update, but I've got my eye on it. But Boots Ennis, there's not a lot to get excited about in the welterweight division. You know, remember it was supposed to be him and Virgil Ortiz, and they were going to be the Leonard Hearns of the welterweight division. That's not it. There's really not a big fight for him. At 147, Howard Miller, what's up, brother? Make sure you subscribe and like. Boots got to take his time at 147, clear that division out. Let Crawford passing the torch, not him trying to take it. Well, I mean, if Crawford has left 147, he's already passed it, right? He's already passed it. You know, let's. It's a little depressing. The welterweight division, which has been historically one of the best in boxing. Right now, you got Mario Barrios has a belt. I guess Terrence still has a belt. Stanionis has a belt. And Brian Norman is about to get a belt. When I don't know. I thought Terrence vacated all his titles. But when you look at the ratings, the rankings at 147, I mean, nothing jumps out. Errol Spence is still ranked at 147, although no one believes he's going to fight at 147. Diesel, absolutely, Bud is a threat. But here's the thing, Diesel. He doesn't have the fights at 147. It's become. I mean, Mario Barrios has become, I guess, the second best fighter in the division, which it kind of says how deep the division is. George Euro, do you think Boots will be able to unify? Barrios and Stanios are both with PBC. If he gets the opportunity, yes, he can unify, but who knows? I mean, you know how boxing is. If he gets a chance, he can unify. Dave, what's up, Dave? Like and subscribe. I'd like to see him take his time a little more. He fought like a young man with vigor, but he could have worked smarter. But Dave, I think he did that by design. I think he was at home and he wanted to look sensational, and he was willing to take shots to look sensational. He knew who he was fighting. He was not fighting a killer. He was fighting a tough guy. He wasn't fighting Thomas Hearns. He wasn't fighting Pepino Cuevas. He wasn't fighting a guy with a killer shot. So, Dave, I think he fought like that with a purpose. He wanted to fight like that. That's what I believe. I mean, he hasn't said that. Who should he fight to get him a real test next? Mr. Big Play Bray. You tell me. I mean, you know, you look at he already beat the number one contender is that Karen. I'm not going to say his last name, but he won every second of every round when he fought him. Cody Crowley is hurt. No name jumps out at me. Honestly, I would like to see him fight Barrios. I would like to fight him fight. I would like to see him fight Stanionis. Stanionis is a guy I feel bad for because he had those fights canceled with Virgil Ortiz, 2 times, 3 times? So Stanionis is a tough guy. Barrios is a tough guy. Brian Norman is a young champ or soon to be champ who's getting better fight by fight. I'd love to see him fight Stanionis next or Barrios. I think if you're talking about the real tests, it's Stanionis or Barrios. Who else is there at 147? I mean, it's sad, but the division is just weak, and it's not Boots' fault. It's just weak. It's just weak. Diesel, I'm gonna say Boots is a threat because guys are penning Bud in for a guaranteed win over Boots. Well, I don't think Bud is coming back to 147. So the sad thing about Bud is it's going to be a year since he fought, and he's 37. So he's getting older. He's getting older. I don't think he fights at 147 again. Dave, yeah, I totally agree. He won a sensational performance. Yeah, he definitely. Boots is that smart kind of fighter that can change his style up. He can fight different styles. So he's not going to fight. If he was fighting a guy with killer power, he's not going to stand there in the pocket like that, like he did. I mean, he stood there and was willing to take shots. He was at home in Philly. It looked like a great crowd, and it was sensational. Rumor is Barrios could fight. Yeah, you know what, man? I got to tell you. The WBC came out and said they thought it was a great idea. Pacquiao came back. And that showed me how utterly greedy the WBC is, because Manny Pacquiao is 45 years old. I used to work at HBO. I was in the Philippines with Manny Pacquiao. I've shot with Manny Pacquiao many times. Manny Pacquiao was once a great fighter, a sensational fighter. He's a Hall of Fame fighter. He's 45 years old. Why would it be good for him to fight again? And that's what the head of the WBC said, that it would be a great thing for him to fight again. You know what? Because he's greedy. He wants to get the sanctioning fees that Pacquiao could bring him. Manny Pacquiao is 45 years old. I don't want to see him fight. I think he's 45. I don't want to see him fight again. Who wants to see him fight again? Like, stop. You know, I mean, enough is enough at some point. And I don't want to see Manny Pacquiao back in the ring. But listen, if I'm Mario Barrios and you're offered a Manny Pacquiao, of course you take it. Why? Manny Pacquiao is going to bring you more money than you've ever fought for in your life, and he's 45 years old. So, yeah, you know, I think Barrios should take it. Brian Norman, I interviewed him. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, go back. I interviewed Brian Norman not too long ago. Brian Norman is a fighter who is improving. He's young. He's an interim champion. He's soon to be a champion because I believe Terrence Crawford is going to give up those belts. So I talked to Tim Bradley a lot about Brian Norman. He thinks he's got a lot of flaws he's got to work on, but he is improving. So 147. Boots Ennis right now, he might not be undisputed. So what? He's the best. Who is better than Boots at 147? I mean, if you want to make an argument, you can, and I'll listen because I don't dismiss any arguments, but he's the best fighter at 147. Howard Miller, what's up, Howard? Barrios unification in November should be next. Agreed. Of course, I've subscribed. Oh, man. I'm happy to see you're still at it. I've always been at it. Howard, you might have been, saw me when I was at Pro Box. Always at it, brother. Been at it for like 20 years behind the scenes. Now I got a channel. I can talk boxing whenever I want. Oh, I knew someone was going to say Conor Benn. Yeah, Conor Benn is money, I guess. So let me tell you something. Boots Ennis would beat the hell out of Conor Benn. I would like to see it. I don't think Conor Benn deserves a shot. I think he's a cheater. I think a lot of fighters are cheaters in boxing. But whatever, man. Boxing is boxing. So I'm not going to talk anymore about that. But I think that Boots Ennis would beat the hell out of Conor Benn. And I'd like to see it. Diesel, guys, I gave Boots an A-. That's fair. That's fair. Look, he got hit a lot. He got hit a lot. But he knew he was going to get hit. Like, I mean, I watch what these casuals say. Oh man, if he fights Bud like that, You see how that guy, how Avanesian him, if Bud hits him like that, come on, man. No, act like you know a little bit about boxing. Act like you know a little bit about boxing. He wouldn't fight Bud like that. Come on, man. Just stop. Mr. Big Playboy. I like Brian Norman a lot. I mean, Tim Bradley thinks he needs a lot of work. Brian Norman is a young fighter. It seems like he's improving every fight. Look, and I interviewed him, so I like the dude a lot. Howard Miller says, facts. Diesel, I low-key want to see Manny back. Look, I don't blame you. In a way, I do too, which is set, like, we're as fans, because we're thinking about Manny Pacquiao. We're not even thinking about Manny Pacquiao when he fought Keith Thurman. And he was past his prime when he fought Keith Thurman. We're thinking about that Manny Pacquiao and how he could be. But he fought Ugas, and he gave a workmanlike performance against Ugas. But Manny Pacquiao was never like a workmanlike fighter. He wasn't. So he's diminished. He's not the Manny Pacquiao. When you think about Manny Pacquiao, man, the first time I remember seeing Manny Pacquiao fight was against Ledwaba when he won a belt, and looked sensational. And he had just linked up with Freddie Roach, and then he destroyed Marco Antonio Barrera. And then he fought Juan Manuel Marquez and dropped him, 3 times in that first round? I thought a superhero was being born. And then they went to war, and I thought Marquez won that fight, by the way. But this is not the Pacquiao that fought Cotto, that fought Oscar. This is Manny Pacquiao, who's 45 years old. So, yeah, low-key, in a way, Diesel, I kind of want to see Manny Pacquiao fight again, too. But that's just like the greedy fan in me. The sensible fan in me says he's 45, man. He's going to get beat up by these young guys. He just is. So, Diesel, I hear you. I get it, man. I get it. TBR, make sure you like and subscribe. Everybody, hit the like button. Subscribe. TBR, I think Pac-Man should protect his brain and stay retired. He's taken a lot of damage. He has. But it's boxing. How often do guys stay retired? They don't. And Manny Pacquiao, all he's talked about, first he wanted to be in the Olympics, and that didn't happen. Then he was going to have these exhibition fights. He kept talking about Floyd Mayweather. That didn't happen. He hasn't gotten the sport out of his system. He's no longer, I believe he ran for president. I don't think he's a congressman anymore in the Philippines. So I don't know, man. I just don't want to see him turning into a sad story. TBR, no one can F with Boots at 47 unless Crawford comes back down. Agreed. I agree. Diesel, I'm not sold on Brian Norman, and you shouldn't be. That's a great take. You shouldn't be sold on him. You know what? Let me get the link in here. Let me see if anybody wants to talk some boxing, because I don't like doing this by myself. But Diesel, you shouldn't be. But listen, he's not a champion yet, right? I mean, he's an interim. He's soon going to be. He's going to get a belt. So you shouldn't be sold on him because he's still a work in progress. My man Levi. Right now, there's nobody at 147 better than or can beat Boots. Barrios might be a close second. The only guys I really want to see him fight at 147 are Barrios and Stanionis. That's it. Shaquem Guerrero says like the ones to pay the other welterweight division. What? Really? I'll be honest with you. I know he's number 1 in the BA and the BO, but I have not seen him fight enough. But to say he's the William Zepeda, maybe I should. I really have not been paying attention to 147, and that's my bad. But I mean, I'll look into him. Howard Miller, 147 division. He's a shot in the arm. A unification tournament. Well, not. Man, I don't know. I don't know if boxing will ever do another unification tournament. I don't know if they will. I wish they would. At 147, though, I mean, Do you really need it? Because Boots to me is just he's the best in the division. Wow, Diesel Manny beats Barrios, bro. You're thinking of Manny Pacquiao when he fought Keith Thurman, and how many years ago now is that? When was that fight? 2020? That's not 2019. That was like 5 years ago. That's not the same Manny Pacquiao. So I listen. I don't think Barrios is some great fighter. I don't. But man, Manny, Mr. Big Play Bray. Speaking of Keith, they can dust him off to fight Boots. Oh man, you know what happened with Keith? He was gonna fight at 54. He was gonna fight what's his name? The champ. Well, used to be the champ. And oh, Levi, I just saw you. You dropped out. Um, what's up with Keith Thurman? I mean, he was gonna fight, then he got hurt. Levi, seems like Manny wants to end his pro career on a better note than the Ugas fight. But you know what? The Ugas fight was not a horrible way to end your career. I mean, he was clearly past his prime against a better fighter, and he gave his all. It was a close fight. I thought it was 7-5, maybe. Um, so you know, boxers rarely go out um, with that storybook ending because Muhammad Ali, if he did that, he would have went out against Foreman. Storybook ending, or you want to push it, he would have ended against Frazier, the Thriller in Manila, would have ended it. Sugar Ray Leonard, and Ali didn't, and we know he lost his fight. He lost the last fight of his career against Trevor Berbick in the Bahamas with a cowbell. A cowbell was the bell for the rounds. Sugar Ray Leonard should have ended his career with a Hagler fight. He didn't. He ended up getting knocked out by Hector Camacho of all people. So rarely do fighters go out on a high note. So AP, sometimes you have to get beat in the retirement. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Crawford is on his way out with no intentions to fight Boots. Well, but that's not a bad thing because Crawford's moved up to 154, right? Do you think Eubank Jr. can ever win a world title? Maybe. I mean, Eubank, what does he fight at 160? Yeah, yes. TBR, yes. I think that Eubank can win. Look, you got Carlos Adames, Erislandy Lara, who's legit probably 50 because he's a Cuban. He's probably 50. Janabek is probably moving up to 168. So he's got the IBF and WBO. He was supposed to fight tonight. He couldn't make weight. He passed out. So he may be giving up those belts. So yes, Chris Eubank, I think, can win a belt at 160. There's no doubt because 160 is very much like 147. It's kind of a weak division. Against the ropes with Dose. What's up, brother? Boots was all off tonight. But was he off though? I mean, did you see Avanesian's face? I mean, it was punishment from round one. It was punishment. It was walking forward. It was destruct and destroy like Marvin Hagler. He fought like Marvin Hagler. He did. He didn't fight like Boots Ennis tonight. He fought like Marvin Hagler. So you want to grade him? I mean, Boots, I think he fought the way he fought with a purpose. That's what I think. No, you're the man. I appreciate you. Fighting Temple is in the house. Mr. Big Librarian. I saw Norman Jr., but I believe the other guys haven't tried to fight him, and Boots needs to stay active. Norman would be a stay active fight. What's wrong with Hector Camacho? Bro, I loved Hector Camacho, but Sugar Ray Leonard was my guy, okay? Man, there is no way Hector Camacho knocks out a prime Sugar Ray Leonard. They don't even fight because Camacho was 135, Sugar was 147 in their primes. And Camacho Camacho's prime was probably 130. His prime weight, his best weight. So, no, there's nothing wrong with Camacho, but, bro, that broke my heart. I'm telling you, it broke my heart when he knocked out Sugar Ray Leonard. Broke my heart. Giorgio, I think Boots pieces up Barrios. Me too. Stanionis is the fight I like next. Worst case scenario, Conor Ben. Alexis Rocha. Who's with Golden Boy? Yeah, Rocha. I don't know, man. I don't know. Something about him just doesn't excite me. Just doesn't excite me. I like it. These Boots absolutely fought like Marvin Hagler. Southpaw. I mean, he was moving forward all night. He was moving forward all night. It was, Hagler could box too, but Hagler would be destruct and destroy. And when he was in that mode, he was in that mode. Oh shoot. I got my man Levi.
Hey.
What's up, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good, George. How are you?
Good, man. What'd you think of Boots tonight?
I didn't get to watch the first 2 rounds. I got in pretty late, around the 3rd round. He looked good. I give him an A minus. A minus.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Not bad for being out for a year. And I think he fought like I'm like Levi. I'm hearing people say, "Oh, if he fought Bud like that, and if he got hit like that, he wouldn't fight Bud like that." He was fighting David Avanesian. He fought like that with a purpose. I think he was at home. He wanted to put on a show. He said, "I can take this guy's punch." And he moved forward. He was destructing and destroying. And I mean, he got hit, but it's okay. And he got the knockdown in the 5th, and the corner stopped the fight. He got hit because he was willing to get hit. He fought that way on purpose. It's not like Avanesian made him fight toe to toe.
Yeah. Well, I guess the people who talk about what would happen if he fought Bud like that don't understand that styles make fights.
Right.
And that's the style I chose to fight with that night.
Right.
And to the person who said he fought like Marvin Hagler, he kind of did. He looked reminiscent of it.
Yeah. Well, actually, I said that and someone agreed, and only because it was clear from the first round that, and you missed the first 2 rounds, but really in round 3, he had already heated up. He fought the same way the first 2 rounds. He was willing to take shots tonight. He was willing to he didn't move his head a lot. He was landing shots and he wouldn't move his head. But it was clear that was his game plan, because he knew he was fighting a guy that probably couldn't hurt him. I mean, if he got hurt, I think he would have changed his game plan. He was at home. He wanted to look good, and I thought he looked good for a guy who hadn't fought in a year.
Yeah, funny thing about that. First time a guy in Eddie Hearn's stable has done well in a homecoming fight.
That's true.
Regis got the decision in New Orleans. Looked bad.
Ooh, that was a terrible fight.
Yeah, looked terrible, but he won, so I'll give him that. And then Matias, we all saw what happened to him a few weeks ago.
Oof.
Yeah,
you know what? You're right.
Look, and I gave Liam Parle a good honest shot. I knew he was going to win that fight.
You know what? You're better than me, because I started to kind of believe in the hype with Matias, and I was wanting him, I think, to be like the boogeyman of the division. And Chris Algieri, for like a year, has been saying Matias has no defense. You can't be like a pound for pound guy with no defense. And you know what? Chris was right. You were right. And he wasn't the boogeyman.
Yeah.
And I listen, if you had offered to bet me on that fight, I would have taken a bet. But that was a case of me just kind of wanting to be a guy what he wasn't, and he's not a great fighter.
I don't know. My attention was split that night because I was watching Tank and Frank too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
you know what? Can you tell me? I was watching Murataya and Farmer. Do you know who won that fight?
Not yet. I haven't looked at that one yet.
Yeah, I was watching it as I was doing this live, and Farmer seemed like he was fighting tough, but I don't know who won. But yeah, man, Boots, I thought, this was the start of his reign, and I thought he looked great. The thing is, 147, Levi, There's no super fight for him at 147. But
One,
I think there's two guys that I would love to see him fight next. Me personally, I'll ask you who you would want. But I think
mm,
Stanionis or Barrios, one of those two guys, there's not a lot of depth at 147.
well, I gotta say, I'd probably say Barrios, but Barrios is probably want to go. He's probably want to go the money route and go after Pacquiao.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, poor Manny. Like
Yeah.
I feel
And
I kind of feel bad for Manny because it's obvious he can't get boxing out of his system. And I know the rumor is he's going to fight Barrios. And if I'm with Mario Barrios and you're offered Manny Pacquiao, of course you take it because you're
yeah,
getting more money than you've ever gotten, and you're fighting a 45-year-old fighter who's faded. He's faded. So I hope Manny doesn't come back because I think I've read people saying, well, he wants to he didn't like the way he went out. You know what? The way he went out, it was a tough fight with Ugas. He lost, but he didn't get dominated.
uh,
He's gonna get if he keeps coming back, he's gonna get dominated and he's gonna get embarrassed. And I don't want to see I don't want to see that.
no, I don't know. Maybe he feels like that wasn't him at his best. Like I watched that fight, his legs did look stiff. Perhaps that's just him being old. But I saw some of these exhibitions. He did look faster on his feet. So I don't know.
See, now Con Shawnery, who's my boy, he says, hey, George, I saw Boots getting clipped with jabs, right hooks, and right uppercuts. I wouldn't favor this version of Boots against Crawford. Well, he wouldn't fight like that. He wouldn't fight. There's no way Boots would fight the way he fought tonight if he fought Bud. But let's just stop. Bud wants to fight Canelo. Bud doesn't want to fight at 147 anymore. He doesn't. And the thing is, at Bud at 54, there's some decent fighters there. But at 160 is almost like 147. Two of the staple divisions of boxing. And they're, Levi, both
Yeah.
divisions are
Yeah.
weak right now. They're
Yeah,
weak.
all their stars have gone on to greener pastures.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I gotta be honest. I don't think the Boots Bud fight ever happens. Like
Me
unless
neither.
no, unless
Well,
like
not at 47. Maybe
yeah.
if Bud wins a belt, which I think he will at 54. Maybe if Ennis moves up to 54, but there's no shot. I'm with you. There's no
Yeah,
way they fight at
like
147.
unless Boots gets to undisputed at 147 at an insane rate and then goes up to 154. I don't think they'll like you said. Bud's looking to get Canelo, and if he fights Canelo, like win or lose, he's probably going to retire then and there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, I'm excited for Boots, but like when you think about who's going to fight next, unless it's Stanionis or Barrios, I can't think of a name at 147 that really people might say Conor Benn.
No.
I wouldn't either. But it is the welterweight division it's weak right now. There's no depth. So if he doesn't fight Barrios or Stanionis, I don't know. It's going to be a hard sell for Eddie Hearn.
I can't think of any other contender like who would bring that much of a challenge or even bring that much money. Or I don't like to think of him as a good option right now. But Ryan, like he could probably make 147 if he was around, which he's not. Good riddance. He could be a good money fight for Boots there.
Oh,
Boots would kick his ass.
listen, when Ryan comes back and the
If he ever comes
WBC,
back.
the WBC has said how,
Yeah.
we're banning him from the sport. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
as soon as Ryan comes back, and Ryan won't go to rehab. As soon as Ryan comes back, right now the WBC champ is Mario Barrios. If Barrios is still a champ in 9 months when Ryan can come back, the WBC will okay that fight. 100%. They'll okay that fight. So,
And I'll tell you this. I'll tell you why they expelled Ryan. He made them look bad. Like, they made a post like a few weeks ago saying, we understand his situation. We're gonna help him through this, and then he makes them look bad. It's like with Charlo. Like, they let him hold on to the belt for 2 years, then he gets arrested, and then they strip him.
Yeah. Well, but you know who they won't strip is Canelo, because they know they get all
too much
all
dinero.
those sanctioning fees, too much money with exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So, like, I saw the WBC how they they're kicking a guy when he's down, and it looks good for the public, for the casual fans to say, "Oh, the WBC, they're standing up to Ryan Garcia." Let me tell you, as soon as he's back, as soon as he's cleared and he doesn't go to rehab and he's cleared, the WBC, if Ryan Garcia says he wants to fight any WBC champion, they will say, "Ryan," they will have open arms. "Welcome back to boxing. You're a breath of fresh air, Ryan Garcia," because they know he makes money.
Yeah, it's more likely that the WBC accepts him back than it is that he goes to rehab at this point.
You know what? I agree with you. Like, if there was a money line, if there was a line for that in Vegas, like, to bet, I would 100% agree with that bet. Because Ryan, look, I don't even want to get into Ryan Garcia, but I agree. I agree with you. But Boots, that was Boots's first defense. And you know what's sad? I'm looking at the 147-pound rankings, the IBF rankings. Number 1 is Karen Chuchazian, the guy that he dominated over 12 rounds like a year or two ago. That's the number 1 contender. So Cody Crowley, unfortunately, he had the eye issues. This shows I don't know. There's a lot of people who know. Some people know every fighter in the sport. The number 5 IBF contender is Jin Sasaki.
Hey.
I've never seen Jin Sasaki fight. And then Patty Donovan is 6th. Nicholas Flaz is 7th. Roman Villa, who he knocked out, is 8th. Rocha is 9th. And someone named Suleiman Sissoko is number 10. So I'm not hearing a whole lot of Leonard Hearns, Benitez, Pepino Cuevas is in there.
The opposition, no.
It's just not a deep division, Levi.
I'm looking at these rankings too. These are some barren things. Like, and they even still have Errol Spence in IBF. He's not.
I know.
And honestly, he might be forced to fight Conor Benn, because who else are people going to pay to see?
You're right. Well, anyone is a hard sell, but at least Stanionis and Barrios have belts. I guess Stanionis. I guess Crawford still has the BA and the BO.
I think so. Yeah.
So, yeah. There isn't a big money fight for him at 147. There just isn't. So if he wants to unify, unifying a division always looks good. It's really the only thing he can do. There's not the big money fight for him at 147. So I'm guessing his goal is going to be unify, because what else could it be? There's no Pacquiao's or Mayweather's. There's no big money fights at the division. There just isn't.
Yeah, and it's probably the best move for him, because, like, if he moves up and hasn't done much at 147, they'll stick him with the paper champion logo since they just stripped butt of it and gave it to him.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, I thought it was a sensational fight. He was out to impress his hometown crowd. And he was willing to take punches. And I think Khan, the clip, the bite is still up. Like, Khan knows that Boots wouldn't fight like that. He wouldn't just stand and let Terrence Bud Crawford hit him with jabs, right hooks, and right uppercuts. So
although
he's never going to fight Bud, I don't think. I don't think they're ever going to fight.
Although, I will say this. It's more likely that Bud fights Boots than... It's more likely that fight happens than Canelo Benavidez. which is a sad statement in and of
Well,
itself.
I think almost any fight you want to bring up is going to happen before Canelo Benavidez, and that is sad. You're right. That's a sad statement on the sport,
And
and that's why when the WBC starts talking about banning guys like Ryan Garcia, yet they won't make Canelo fight Benavidez without stripping him. I mean, it is what it. It's the sad state of boxing, and it's not easy being a boxing fan sometimes. And you know, if you
Mhm.
try to explain boxing to your friends, because I'm sure you have friends who aren't really boxing fans, like they're kind of like a little bit. When you try to explain to them boxing, you sound like an idiot. You sound like a fool. And they'll say,
Yeah.
well, what do you mean Canelo won't fight Benavidez? Isn't Benavidez like the best fighter in the division? Yeah. Well, why won't Canelo fight him? That's stupid. Well, yeah, it is stupid.
Yeah.
And you sound like a fool trying to defend boxing,
Mhm.
but I mean, it is what I hate the phrase, it is what it is, but it is what
No,
it is.
it is what it is, and it's that everything Canelo's done. I don't want to call him a coward, but what other reason is there that he won't fight this man? Like, you know, and he can't use money as an excuse because they're both if they fight each other on a Mexican holiday, the numbers would be through the roof. It'd
Yeah.
be 10 times more what he did with Munguia.
Yeah. I don't think he's afraid, but there's a reason why he's not fighting Benavidez, and I don't know if he just wants some astronomical payday. I can't. I mean, I'm not a big Canelo fan, but I'm smart enough to know like Canelo's not afraid of anyone. And Benavidez did not look great at 175, and he said he was moving back to 168. It just
Yo,
makes no sense why you wouldn't fight the guy who is the best. All right, behind you, if you want to say the best fighter at 168. But that's the problem with boxing. You can avoid guys and still keep your belts. And Canelo's got all the belts at 168.
he's holding him hostage. I gotta say that he's holding him hostage. He's not giving him to the worthy contenders right now. Like
Well,
like what Berlanga? What has Berlanga done? Nothing. And Chris Eubank, like the only place that does big numbers is in England.
and I'm hearing you probably are too that Berlanga might be next to get a shot.
No,
Edgar
I'd rather see
Berlanga will get he will get the piss beat out of him. And Berlanga is a tough guy.
Yeah.
He is not ready for Canelo. When I was at Pro Box, Paulie and Chris and all those guys used to say the same thing you said, that Canelo's holding the belts hostage. He really is. He's not fighting the best fighters. If Canelo said, even if Canelo's next fight, there's only two guys I want to see him fight. It's Benavidez is number one. If he doesn't fight Benavidez, fight David Morrell. Fight David Morrell. But he won't fight those guys. He's gonna fight Edgar Berlanga. And then here's what I think is gonna happen. He's gonna fight Berlanga. He's gonna knock Berlanga out. Then he's gonna fight Christian and Billy. That's guys that and Billy is a tough fighter, but he will get hammered by Canelo. I think those are Canelo's next two fights, and then at some point he's gonna retire.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand that. Like pushing those together. Like, why not make Berlanga and then Billy fight each other? That's a good fight. Or
It's a really good that is a really good fight. You want to like have two guys duke it out to fight the champ? I would love to see that fight, but it seems like Canelo's going to fight Berlanga next.
or even you want a real test for Berlanga, put him in there with Caleb Plant. Now that's a dude who don't give two Fs.
Yeah, I think Plant beats Berlanga. Plant is in camp. I do know that. Caleb Plant is in camp, but there's no. I don't know who's fighting. Obviously, it's not Berlanga. I don't know who Caleb Plant is fighting, and it's crazy. Plant is as low as he's number 10 by the WBA. He's number 8 by the WBC. He's not ranked by the IBF.
Oh. Makes
nor
sense.
is he ranked by the WBO.
Well, it makes sense. There's not a lot of activity at 168, and he hasn't fought since Benavidez last year.
Right. 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 Ooh. What happened to Levi? Levi, I lost you. Levi, make sure you get back in. Always good talking to Levi. Georgior. I think Boots pieces up Barrios. Stanionis is the fight I'd like next. Worst case scenario is Conor Benn or Alexis Rocha. Who's the going? Yeah, I like those are the two fights I want for Boots. Barrios or Stanionis. Exactly. Let's see. Let me catch up with these. My man Khan. Boots look like he should. Yeah, I'm telling you, I said the same thing. That he looked like a middleweight when he was in that ring. And Khan says he looked like a middleweight. Exactly. Keggy, man, I put the link in, and I never see you. Farmer lost. He's in his career twilight at this point. Yeah, that's too bad. Boots did okay, but he looked 20 pounds bigger than David. Yes, he did. Con Shawnery, I've been foretelling the end for Farmer since he lost to JoJo. Yeah, Tevin Farmer is a guy that I really like, but he's definitely in the twilight. Keggy, don't IBF have a ruling to keep within 10 pounds of man? Keggy, I don't know. Every organization has a different rule. They have different rules. So I don't know. I don't know. Did they even say what Boots weighed tonight? Because I know when I was with HBO, they would give you the weights the night of the fight. Did the IBF even give a weight tonight? I don't know. Thurman can beat Barrios. Well, he did it, right? But he did it how many years ago? Georgior? I mean, Keith Thurman hasn't fought. I swear, it feels like Keith Thurman hasn't fought in 5 years. I don't know. I don't know what Keith Thurman's deal is. I really don't. It's just he wasted a lot of years. Contrary, the Kegi watching Boots versus Nevanesian looked like Benavidez versus David Lemieux. Yeah. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. It was a joke to call it a welterweight fight. But look, I mean, Boots was what, 146 and a half is what he weighed in at? Agreed, Khan. Khan says Boots still looks like a work in progress. And he is. He's not facing elite talent in 32 fights, and he's been around the pro division too long to not be tested properly. But guess what, Khan? Elite talent. That's what you're talking about. Look at the rankings at 147. There's not an elite talent there. There's not. I know Crawford, I guess, still has belts. He's elite, yes. We know he's not fighting at 147. So, who's better at 147 than Boots right now? And you're right. But that's the problem. There is no elite fighters for him to fight. Bud is an elite fighter, but Bud is at 154. So unless he wants to go up to 154, like elite, you're talking, it's a very narrow field. It's a very narrow field for an elite fighter. The Kegi, why would Barrios or Stanios or Norman fight Boots? Not happening unless they get thrown a big bag of money. Well, of course, that's why it would happen. But that's my point. Let's say that Boots doesn't fight Barrios or Stanionis or Norman. Is he going to fight Cody Crowley? Okay. And again, I guess I'm showing my ignorance because I'm looking at the rankings at 147. Who the F is Jin Sasaki? Nicholas Flaws. Like, who are these guys? Who are these guys? So I hear you, Keggy. They would have to be throwing a bag of money. But my point is, for Boots Ennis, like, what's his next fight going to be that people are going to pay for? What is it? Mr. Big Play Bray Bud only has 3 more fights in him. Yeah, but you know what? They're not going to be at 147. I don't think. Maybe he struggles. You know what? He's going to win his next fight. He's going to win on August 3rd, whenever he fights. Maybe he struggles like Benavidez did at 175, and he says, you know what? Maybe I'm better at 147. That's the only way we're gonna see him fight Boots. If he just has a tough time at 54, which I don't think he'll have, even though he's not that big. He's not a big welterweight. He's not going to be a big fighter at 154. But I think he's got more than enough to win that fight. Yeah. So that's really the only shot that we've got at him fighting Boots at 147 is if he struggles. And I just don't think he's going to struggle. Ryan will be back next year, and this year's shenanigans will fade from memory. And that is the point, Con. That's the point about boxing, the hypocrisy of boxing. I mean, I don't want to shine a light on Ryan Garcia, but you just go on X and see what he's posting. He keeps pushing back his whatever. You know what? I'm not giving him any time. F that guy, yo. They make money on Garcia fights, exactly. So that's why the WBC will be happy when he's back. The Keggy, I'll get on board with Boots at 154, right now 147. He just rehydrates to a super middle and is so much bigger than every welterweight right now. But I don't now, Keggy, what was his weight tonight? He definitely looked like he was 1 or 2 weight classes above Avanesian. Whatever the rules are by the IBF, I guess he was within them, right? I don't know what he weighed tonight. I don't know what every organization has a different rule for rehydration. So, I really don't know what to say. They stand up for money. Exactly. Bro, Keggy, bro. I mean, all right. Let me throw out some names. And I never say that I know every fighter in boxing, but the IBF 147-pound division. I'm going to throw some names out, and I want to see if anyone knows these fighters. And I don't even know how to pronounce these names. Ikao Isussman. He's ranked 15th. Harry Scarf, 14th. Avanesian is 13th. Gabriel Valenzuela is 13th. Shakram Glaziov is 11. He's also number 1, the same Glaziov, by the WBA and the WBO, and that shows you the bullshit politics of boxing. That guy's number 1 in the BA and the BO, and he's number 11 in the IBF. IBF number 10, Suleiman Sissoko. Then you got Rocha Villa, Nicholas Flaz, Patty Donovan, Jin Sasaki, Errol Spence, who's not fighting at 147, Cody Crawley. Number 2 is not even rated in the IBF. And number 1 is Karen Chudzakian. So, ooh. All right, Con. All right, Con. Let's get this in. Con, I disagree with you on Boots, George. Boots has yet to... Bro, I've already said I agree. What are we disagreeing on, Con? He has not been tested by an elite talent. But guess what? There is no elite talent at 147. It's not his fault that there is a lack. Listen, Boots and Spence avoided him because they said, "Oh, he's not getting us enough money. He should have had a title shot before he was given a belt. Let's be honest here. Boots and Spence held up the division with their unification for a long time. Boots should have gotten a shot against one of those two, and then you'd be singing a different tune, okay? But that didn't happen. Those guys are gone from 147. Khan, I agree. He hasn't been tested. Who is elite at 147? Who? Khan. So what are we disagreeing on? What are we disagreeing on? It's not his fault that he didn't get a title shot. Those guys both big timed him. That's what Spence did, and that's what Bud did. They big timed him. Oh man, why should we fight him? What does he bring to the table? That's an easy way to duck a guy who may be able to beat you, and that's what they did. They ducked him, Khan. So what are we disagreeing on? I just want to know. What if Haney goes to 147? Haney would get the shit kicked out of him by Boots. Let's be honest. Come on, man. He had no power at 140. So, but again, he now Devin Haney, if he moves up to 147, can he beat Brian Norman? Yeah. Can he beat Mario Barrios? Yeah. Can he beat Boots? Hell no, he can't beat Boots. But he can get a belt at 147 for sure. Contrary, he's the most overrated fighter of this generation based on his resume. Who's that? Boots. But who's like rating him so high? Boots wanted to fight Bud, and he wanted to fight Spence. I say again. Like I feel like I'm defending him, but I'm not. There's no Keith Thurmans or Sean Porters or even Devin Alexanders at 147. So what are the elite talents at 147 that Boots should be tested by? I'm still waiting. Like, who is elite? Who? Khan, I don't see Canelo Bud happening. I could be wrong, but I don't see the motivation from Canelo to do that fight. Yeah, I don't. Canelo Bud. Yeah, I don't see it either. Khan, come on, bro. Why would Boots stand and take shots from Avanesian? He was trying to use angles and make him. He wasn't trying to use angles. He was staying in the pocket and throwing his shots and staying in there way too long. Bro, when you know you can beat a guy and you know a guy can't hurt you, you know you can take chances. That's what he did. Come on, Khan. Like, that's what he did. That's what he did. Here we go with the if. Khan, you're my boy, but like you're like if Avanesian could punch, Boots would have fought a different fight. Come on, Khan, you know better. You know better than this. Come on, man. Contrary, I'm 100% sure Boots is rooted out of his eyeballs. I can just look at his. Listen, that's a whole other thing. Shakur fought a lackadaisical performance against a C-level opponent, and that was supposed to be a statement to prove that. What are we talking about here? Berlanga can be marketed. Eubank makes sense if they want to make a fight at Wembley. Yeah. Listen, Berlanga can't beat Canelo. He can't. Berlanga was knocking out all those guys that weren't very good, and as soon as the competition stepped up, he stopped knocking guys out. And that last guy he fought, come on, man. If Shakur like Boots was simply fighting to the level of his opponent, then he failed. So wait, what are we talking about now? Now you're talking about Shakur? Come on, bro. Like, I respect you, but do you not like Boots for some reason? Could you not see that Boots fought like that purposely? If not, okay, we just disagree. Keggy, man, I don't. You know what? This mandatory invoking your mandatory position, I don't get that. If you're number one, why do you have to invoke anything? I don't get it. It's what makes me not like boxing. Caleb Plant looks to be on the other side of his best years, no doubt, no doubt. There's no doubt. My man Levi, I don't see you in my timer went up. I don't see you. Con Shawnery Benavides is a classic example. Weight bullying 168. Because he's a mere mortal and is more natural weight. Well, what? Like, how are you a weight bully if you can make the weight? Con, here's where we agree. 154 is looking better than 147 right now. And I agree. Fundora, Bohacek, Madrimov is tough. Bud, Virgil Ortiz, Tim Zhu. There's some talent at 154. I mean, a lot more names than at 147 for sure. For sure. Jordier says, don't sleep on Madrimov. I'm sorry. Madrimov's going to sleep. I hear you, but he's going to sleep. Boots look north of 160 tonight, but I still don't know. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I see. I knew we were on the same page. I knew it. It's just it's 12:43 in the morning. So, this happens. Fish World, there's a new name. Make sure you like and subscribe. Fish World, Boots Ennis. Come on, bro. We know that. We know that. And you know that. It's cute. Watching Ryan get demolished in the ring by Virgil would be so sweet. Man, that would be a nasty destruction. Nasty. That would be sweet. Man. It's been an hour. I'm about to bounce out of here because it's also 12:44 in the morning on the East Coast. Everybody's asleep in my house. So Boots Ennis looks sensational. Oh, something's gonna happen here. Yikes.
Subscribe to my YouTube page and you can win a once-in-a-lifetime, no expenses paid trip to check out the boxing memorabilia in my garage and in my home.
Whoa. Didn't mean for that to happen. Oh, shoot. Levi!
Yo,
I didn't see you, man.
hey.
So what's your closing thoughts on the night of boxing for tonight?
Oh, well, in my absence, I was able to watch some of the Mortella Farmer highlights.
Okay, so tell me what happened.
Mortella eked out a close one. I didn't look at the official scores, but judging by the video Top Rank put out, he won. Didn't look that good. I've heard some comments saying that some people thought Farmer won.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I still think, I guess I'm in the minority, but I still think boxing shoots itself in the foot when they have these cards on the same night, the same time. It's just when I worked at HBO and Showtime were the two top dogs in boxing, and I mean it was rare when there was a card that was on the same night, and if it would be maybe once a year. They would make sure they were at different times. It's like today, boxing as a sport, they just don't care. They're like, so what? You want to watch it? Watch it. If you don't, you don't. Like the main events were on at the same time tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I might be like old school or just old, but you want to market the sport, yet you put on competing cards at the exact same time makes no sense.
Yeah. Like you can't watch two at once. Like there could be if you have two very good fights on the same night. Like, what are you doing? What's like? I don't even know what to say on that.
Yeah, well, Dr. Boxing Talk says the same thing as us. Great night of boxing. My only gripe was that they started the main events almost at the same time, and I missed the first 4 rounds of Murtai versus Farmer. I mean, and Con Shawnee says they don't care, and that's too bad because, like, we care,
Yeah,
People nowadays,
yeah,
you have to watch. You can watch one fight on your TV and another on your phone or your computer at the same time, and
yeah.
you can't really. I'm sorry, man. I can't watch two things at once. I'll focus on one thing, and in between rounds, I'll focus on the other. But it's one of the
Yep.
issues of boxing. But
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. Like watching one thing on TV, watching one thing on the other between rounds. Like that's how I watched Tank and Frank, and Matias and Paul.
right, and it
Yeah,
just does a disservice to boxing
yeah.
fans.
But
That's
looking at it from tonight's case, like even if on ESPN side it was Janabek fighting, I don't think Eddie Hearn was really concerned that that would top them.
right. All right, brother. Well, I'm about to get out of here. Any final thoughts on tonight or anything coming up? Anything you're looking forward to?
Uh, but I don't know. Boxing's pretty dry for the next few weeks. I mean, there's Jake Paul next week, but uh, I'll probably drop in to watch Amanda Serrano's fight. But I'm not
Yeah,
really.
me too. Me too. I'll watch
I'm not too
Amanda.
concerned about what Jake Paul's doing in his next fight.
Me neither.
But
And then
like
August 3rd, I
only up
guess.
until the August 3rd card, that's when things start cooking.
Right. You know what's kind of sad though?
Hmm.
Like it's July 14th already, and we all look forward to the summer, and then the summer comes and it flies by, and before you know it, it's gonna be fall. Although in the
Yeah.
fall, in October, I believe, isn't that when Beterbiev and Bivol fight?
Wait, isn't that? I think it's
I
October. Yeah.
I think it's October that they fight, right?
Yeah.
So there's something to look forward to in the fall, but
Yeah.
I want the summer to slow down,
Mm-hmm.
like slow down because we
Yeah.
all love the summer.
You're saying, and that's another reason why I think Benavidez should go back down to 168. If he stays at 175, he's not going to get a title fight till like what, like beginning or middle part of next year.
Well, I mean, I think he said he's going back down to 168, but he's obviously not getting a title fight ever at 168 until they start to strip Canelo. He's
Yeah.
never getting a title fight at 168.
And,
So,
and if they do that, I don't think Benavidez will take it. He wants to beat Canelo to take the title.
right, exactly. All right, brother. I'm gonna get out of here, but we'll definitely talk soon, Levi. I appreciate talking to you, brother.
Always nice, George. Thank you.
All right, man. Talk soon. My man, Levi Sullivan. Yeah, Con. If we had a national commission, this could be better organized. Yeah, I agree. It's multiple power brokers competing against each other. Nakatani, yeah, we got Nakatani next week. And Doc, I saw your show earlier. I'm out, man. It's almost 1:00 in the morning on a Sunday morning. So the reign of Boots Ennis has begun, but you want some exciting things? I just interviewed Tim Bradley. I've interviewed Brian Norman, Justin Figueroa, Sean Porter. Check my channel out for some great content, and if you subscribe, you can get this.
Subscribe to my YouTube page and you can win a once-in-a-lifetime, no-expenses-paid trip to check out the boxing memorabilia in my garage and in my home office. You can come hit the heavy bag and go through the hundreds of boxing magazines I have, and even take a picture with a life-size Oscar De La Hoya cardboard cutout that I took when I was at HBO. Subscribe now for your chance to win all of this.
There is no tomorrow. There is no